All right, quick and dirty analysis. We see basically from this low, the October low, to the December 1st, we've seen that it's been moving sideways. Now it's resolving itself. We had to have the bias, which I've been staying on my videos, of above the 50% line, that we had to have a bullish bias, but it's very hard because we don't know if this is distribution or accumulation. Now that we're breaking back above, we just will look for more long setups accordingly, but we just have to really make sure that we have a proper setup versus, okay, now it's like this, because again, time frame will give you perspective. So if you're trading off the weekly, then you've held, and you probably had your stop above here, or maybe at break even plus a couple points, because you're trading on a weekly time frame. If you're trading on a daily time frame and looking for swing trades, again, this is something that is you have to kind of sit on your hands because you don't know exactly where it's going to go. And again, just because it breaks up doesn't mean that you just initially go long stuff, because that just wouldn't be smart, because you still have to see where your risk analysis is going to be, or your risk is going to be. And again, I trade nothing less than 3-to-1 risk reward. So if it's not going to pay me, if I risk 1,000, it's not going to pay me 3,000. I don't want it. If it's not $100, I don't. $300. You scale it whichever you want. I need the risk to reward management going on. NQ, NQ as well. Again, we were sideways. Gave this little higher low right here, and it has popped up. So again, we'll look at names. We see names like Apple that is doing phenomenally well, but you got to look at, just don't blindly go long stuff because you're like, oh, tech sector is going up, I'm going to blindly go in, because the timing of things, you have to see if you have your proper risk reward management. The YM, grandpa's stuff that, and this, you should look at what the percentages are regarding how this index is weighted on the 30 names. They could easily have Visa, MasterCard, Boeing move a couple dollars. It'll be up 80 points, and then you'll have people to say to you that don't trade, oh, the market's doing well, and you just really need to understand. I say that all the time because I really want people to understand that, especially the Dow can be manipulated. So make sure all of it is manipulated. How about that? The truth. But the Dow can be easily manipulated to have most retail people looking at, 300 points basically means, $8 on Visa, $4 on MasterCard, and have Boeing up $1 or $2, and there you go. So IWM, again, we saw how sideways and choppy it was. And again, I was willing to sit on my hands during a lot of this. I took a couple shorts, which I explained in the videos in the past. And we go from there. So let's start looking at some names. First, we'll start up with Apple. Apple, we see, is continuing to go high. Again, I would just be rolling my stop up. Okay, probably taking some profit off. If you have runners, so be it. And I don't really do runners that much. And just go from there. So this was the gap up from the earnings. It held the 50% line once it gapped up. Again, I don't know. I don't trade breakouts. So to me, this is not, you would have to trade this little 1-bar pullback or 2-bar pullback, and then you would have got that, which is fine. If that's your trade, that's cool. Your stop would have to be below there. Okay. Who else we have? We have Baba, which actually, I think there's some news that came out that they're trying to figure out what the hell they do. Is basically, I'm not looking for anything long. And again, the trend is still down. So if it pops up, I don't know if it's going to melt down on Tuesday. Who knows? But again, I would be looking only for shorts for this name because the trend is down. I don't trade the retracements, meaning that once I see this, it's uptrend. If I see this going on, okay, I don't know what to do. Okay, but I'm not trying to. If I see this going on, I have to make sure it's above the 50% line for me to attempt to take a long here, maybe take a break even. And then once it gets below it, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Google finally started to wake up a little bit. Okay, we see that it's above this 50% line, which I told you guys, listen, I'm not looking to get this long this name until it gets above this line. And I will look to see a better setup. I'll wait. Again, you have to be patient. This isn't day trading. Okay, I'm talking about swing trade. I'm talking about, trades that go on for 2-3 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks if possible. So with that being said, I would want to see a proper pullback, maybe to the 50. If it breaks above, test the 50 and then goes back up, maybe we see it go to new highs. We have to see how this one plays itself out. You got Bank of America, right at the 50% line. So it really has to show something if it could continue, or it can probably break down to go further. Again, it's weaker, it's strong above, weaker below. Um, who is this? JP Morgan. JP Morgan, let's look at what retracement this guy gave us right now. So we're above the 50% line. Let's see if I can go to something else. You're basically at the 61%, 61.62. So again, we'll see how this one plays out. Again, that would be like my max risk right there, and how that one plays out. But again, it's still weaker. And if we look at a higher time frame, let me see if I can get a higher time frame here. We look at a higher time frame. It's okay. I mean, again, you look at, again, I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible for myself. We have it way above the 50% retracement line, but it needs to break out. So we'll kind of really study this volume and see what happens, because again, if it breaks below this low, you see it's been churning, which I talk about the churning patterns for a while. So if you've seen it, my videos, you see the churning pattern, and we want to see how it kind of resolves itself. We have price line. So price line, again, giving some lower highs, which we clearly see. Again, we have a really bullish candle. So we just really want to, before we start just going saying, oh, bullish candle, here we go, we're off to the races. We still have to, it's still guilty until proven innocent. And I would not be going long this name right here. Reason being, where's your stop? If you say your stop's here, that's easy to take out. Okay, if you say your stop's down here, shit, if you're willing to risk 100 points, how far you think it's going to go up? So these are the things that you have to kind of really reflect on when you're looking at it. Sometimes I'll see a trade that looks good, quote unquote, but it's not giving me risk reward when I put out, I start formulate my targets. Tesla gap down, came back up. Okay, we really want to see how this one plays itself out. It's at, you see, it's basically at these highs. Okay, that it was previous, so it's obvious support right now, but I don't care about that. Okay, I want to see what the price action is looking at right here, because again, a retracement means it's going to get shorted. The only reason why his ass ain't get shorted is because it was earnings, and I don't hold over that. I will do a separate video for USO and crude, because a lot of people have been asking me about that one. So hope this helps, and we'll see what happens. I think there's some Greece news on Monday, so we'll see how the markets get affected. It could mean that just more upside, could mean downside. Sometimes that news gets really, real annoying, but we'll take it as it is. Take care. Hope you had a good week. Happy Valentine's Day.